Pam?
Okay, hi. Okay, we will first start with introduce ourselves. Okay, I'm Shutika Supatila, or you can call me Pam. I'm a Foreign Affairs Coordinator at CFBT. Yeah.
Okay.
Yes. And I am Criselda Valderrama, or you can call me Crisel for short.
Sure. And what do you do at CFBT, Chriselle?
Yeah, I'm also the foreign affairs coordinator. Um, actually, there are two foreign affairs coordinator in CFBT.
Got
I
it.
used to work in CFBT from the beginning,
Mhm.
around 1991,
Okay.
until the present. But lately, a few years ago, I returned back to the Philippines. So, by the way, I'm a Filipino.
Okay.
So I still work with CFBT through project base,
Mm-hmm.
and since Ham just came last February, so I'm still assisting her in some of the works.
Okay.
So
Okay.
currently there are still two foreign affairs coordinator for CFBT.
Understood. And this, so you are recording this session, and this session will be played during the foundation day. Is that the plan?
Yeah, since this time, we cannot have like face-to-face
Mm-hmm.
celebration, right? So we are planning to make like a virtual celebration. So what we do is each division or each department of CFBT
Mm-hmm.
plans an activity for their work.
Yep.
So to showcase, yeah, the objective is to showcase the work, the output of their division, the work of their division or their department. So
Got it.
for our department, which is the special affairs department, which involves foreign affairs, we plan to make a like video presentation of our uh, collaborative work, from the foreign affairs work to the social enterprise work, which
Mm.
involves being dealer in different companies.
Got it. Wonderful. Sure. Happy to be a part of it.
Yeah, so I think this will be played 2 days, because that's the plan. There will be having a 2 days affair for this 43rd founding anniversary of CFBT. So that
Okay.
will be on December 2 and December 3.
2 and 3. Sure.
Yeah. Okay. So what's that? Okay. So maybe we can start,
Uh,
Pam.
okay. First, can you please introduce yourself?
Sure. So, hello everyone. My name is Bonnie Dave, and I'm the co-founder of Trestle Labs. I have an educational background in mechanical engineering. So, I did my mechanical engineering and I graduated in the year 2017. And as a part of when I was doing my mechanical engineering, I used to volunteer at a blind school in our city, so as a student, and when I was volunteering, I got to know about braille books, I got to know about audiobooks, how do kids learn braille, what are the tools and techniques teachers use to teach braille. So that's how I got exposed to this whole ecosystem of how does a visually impaired student learn, read and learn. And as I was actually just comparing it with how I learn. So I learn from books. I get some PDFs from my friends. I get handwritten notes, and I was just comparing it with how a visually impaired student learns. They are dependent on braille. They are dependent on audiobooks. Somebody records books and gives it to them. So as a part of my college project, I had built a refreshable braille display. So I would enter a character on my laptop, and I took that prototype to that NGO, and we played a small game there. So I used to enter a character on my laptop and ask the student who is learning Braille to guess the character. So that was the very first time how I got a sense of fulfillment for what I had built. I did not build any rocket science, but I built something which made somebody else happy. So that was a beautiful moment of my life. And then by the end of my engineering, I did not choose to go with any corporate job, and instead decided to work on continuing to enhance and enable content access for the blind and the visually impaired students who are pursuing higher education or preparing for competitive exams. And that's how eventually Trestle Labs was started. So that's the journey from a mechanical engineer to eventually starting Trestle Labs.
So, um, since you are a student, na, a college student, you have been already interested in um, assistive technologies for the visually impaired. How come? How come you have been interested to blind matters related to blind people?
Okay. So, like I said, when I every day when I used to go to that NGO, they used to print braille books, and that I saw those braille books were very big braille books, and our normal textbooks are very thin, 100-page textbooks, but the braille books were not only big, but they were also very heavy to carry around. So
Yeah.
as an engineer, I was quite curious that why do these students have to carry these big braille books around when we have the luxury of reading from digital books. So that was the point. What got me interested into this domain of assistive technologies, and that's why, as a part of my college project, I had built that refreshable braille display. And so that I saw a problem, I built something, and I took it back to that same organization, and because they were happy about it, and so I thought that I had done something good in life. So that's how this whole entry into the assistive technology domain happened for me.
That time was it in India?
Yeah, this is in India, in the western part of India, and I come from a city called Ahmedabad, which is in Gujarat, and Gujarat is one of the states in India, in the western part of India.
So at the moment, do you think there are still a lot of visually impaired or the blind students in India that still use textbooks, braille textbooks, or majority of the blind school are already using digital textbooks?
Majority of the blind schools in India still rely on the age-old braille books. So even braille books are not updated very frequently. So they are very old books, and the curriculum also has not changed. So while blind students are still taught from braille books, there is a very strong contrast when it comes to the employment scenario. So if you look at schools that are braille books, but in employment you do not find braille at all. They're
Yes.
expected to work on computers. They're expected to know JAWS, NVDA, know how to send emails, write, edit Excel sheets. So that's the difference currently, even in India, from a school to a workplace or an organization. And the one of the key facts is less than 1% of the content is available in braille, if you look around. So that's the current state in which they are taught braille books, but braille is not available, and hence students have to rely on volunteers to audio record books for them. And when it comes to audio recording books, it takes time. It takes 1 month to 1.5 months to audio record, let's say, a 300-page book. So
Yes.
there is still a dependency on somebody else to make the content accessible, which is what we are trying to address at Trestle Labs by building products that help students access any kind of printed, handwritten, or digital documents independently in real time. So our focus and emphasis is on real time access.
Yeah, that's right. Okay. So now, can you give us a little bit of orientation about your company, what's the name? Trestle?
Trestle,
Trestle.
Trestle, Trestle Labs, yes.
Trestle Labs. Yeah.
So,
Can
yeah.
you give us a little bit of orientation about your company?
Sure. So we started the journey of Trestle Lab started in 2017, and before we built any product, we actually did a 3 month user study. We met visually impaired students. I mean, people from all age groups, from students to people who are employed, and even those who were not yet employed, people of old age group. So we wanted to understand the entire spectrum of the challenges that visually impaired people face in their day-to-day lives, and what is that one thing that we can address. So we met during, as a part of our user study, we met a visually impaired couple in the city of Bombay in India. So in Mumbai, when we met the family was of three members. Both the husband and the wife were visually impaired, but they had a visually able daughter. She was sighted, and the parents told that when the daughter was very young, she was just 1 year old, and one Sunday she was crying because of stomach ache. So parents usually give the Woodward's, they give the gripe water. So they give the medication, and they gave her the same medicine, and everything was fine after that. Next day, when the neighbors came in for an evening chit chat to say hi, hello, they saw the daughter, and the daughter was had red rashes over her body. So they called the parents. Hey, is there something wrong with your daughter? The parents said, no, she didn't cry. She didn't ask for help. There's nothing wrong. So the neighbors told the parents that go see a doctor. She had these red rashes all over her body. So they went to the doctor. The doctor asked what did she eat in the past 2 days. The parents said that she ate home cooked food. She did not eat anything outside. But the father told that she had this stomach ache and I gave her this medicine. The doctor saw the medicine and the medicine was expired.
Oh.
So that gave us very good insights in terms of how a printed expiry date can lead to such devastating measures for somebody's life. And from that incident, we boiled it down to the domain of print disability. So anything that is printed or handwritten is inaccessible. And then we were understanding what segment of the visually impaired population is the most impacted by this inaccessibility. So that's how we came to visually impaired students who are pursuing higher education or preparing for competitive exams. Why did we target this group is because till 10th standard you get books in braille. You also get audio books because these are standard education board books. But after 10th standard, when you go to higher education, you have to study from reference books, and the content is much more or free flowing. And the second point was that when you graduate from 10th standard to higher education, the aspirations, I mean, as a visually impaired student, I am very aspirational. I want to earn, I want to get employed, I want to earn for my family. So the willingness to do something great in life is very high. But at the same time, the access to resources is very low because now braille books are not available. I have to depend on audio books and I have to ask people to audio record it for me or teach it to me. So this is the reason as to why we started working with visually impaired students who are preparing for higher education or preparing for competitive exams. And that's how eventually the journey of Trestle Lab started, in which our mission is to enable real-time content access, irrespective of if it's a printed, handwritten, or a digital document. So that's how it started with this story, and eventually it took the shape of our product called Kibo, which we have three products: Kibo app, Kibo Access device, and Kibo Desk web portal. So the Kibo app basically helps you read anything that is printed, handwritten, or digital on a smartphone. The Kibo Access device helps you scan and read documents, and the Kibo Desk web portal is if you have a PDF or an image on your computer and you want to read it, you can read it using the Kibo Desk portal. So this is how we have our products across, targeting lifestyle, learning, and earning segment.
So, um, so you already explained about the different products that you manufactured, right? So what are the areas of your market that you market your merchandise?
Sure. So we work very closely with inclusive schools, colleges, universities, blind schools, NGOs, and government public libraries and workplaces. So this is our the B2B approach, the business to business approach, because we believed that as an organization has a greater influence over the people working in their organization than directly speaking to individuals. So we started working with these organizations, and we have sold. We started selling our products in July 2019. We started in 2017. We were started selling in July 2019, and we started selling the Kibo Access device to universities where visually impaired students study. So these are inclusive universities. So the visually impaired students are studying with sighted peers, and we started installing our products in these libraries of these universities. Then slowly we also started working with governments and installing our products in public libraries, the city public library and district public libraries. So we started working with the government to install our products there. After that, we also started working with NGOs and corporates who employ visually impaired people, and we told them that in one of the cases, a visually impaired person working in a corporate was given a voice-based job. So his job was to take calls, speak to the customers, and then pass on to the relevant team for which the customer is raising a concern. So he was doing a voice-based job. So then the individual got the Kibo Access device and she showed it to his employer, saying that hey, this is the device that I have and it can help me do much more. I can now read documents, I can digitize documents, and he showed him the entire product. So the employer was happy to see the productivity of that employee enhance. So earlier he was only doing voice based jobs, now he could do much more. So that employee was promoted from a voice based job to the job of digitizing documents for his entire department. So this is how we started enabling workplaces and corporates to become inclusive for their visually impaired employees. So this is how we started working with organizations, schools, colleges, NGOs, universities, and corporates. Now talking from the individuals segment. So now we started speaking to visually impaired individuals who are employed, who are either employed with banks, who are employed as accessibility testers, I mean, who are employed in some of the other organizations, and they started buying the Kibo Access device and Kibo products for themselves because that was helping them increase the productivity, increase their work output. For an example, one of the professors at the University of Delhi, she is visually impaired and she is using her products to check the handwritten answer sheets of her students. So her students are sighted, they write answers in answer sheets, and her being visually impaired, now she can check the handwritten answer sheets without having to depend on her assistant to read the answer sheets to her. So this is the sense of empowerment that she feels using our products, and that's how we are working with organizations as well as individuals to help them increase their work output and productivity.
Pam, can you ask more questions, please?
How do you plan to start your market venture in Thailand, and especially with CFBT in specific, like being your dealer?
Got it. So Currently since 2019, we now have presence across 7 countries. India, Africa. In Africa, we have presence across Kenya, Ghana, Nigeria, and if in European countries across UK, US, and Canada. So now we want, as we are scaling our products, we are partnering with organizations who help us sensitize the community, do online trainings, demonstrations of the product, such that the impact can be increased. So, especially talking with CFBT and Vineet sir, who we got in touch with, we had multiple rounds of demonstrations, not only with CFBT but other organizations, other folks from other universities also, when we did online demonstrations and sessions. So, first of all, our experience has been very beautiful with CFBT and the initial interactions that we have had. Uh, the second thing that we are really excited about is, because CFBT is one of the prime bodies working for the empowerment of people with disabilities in Thailand. So that is something that we look forward to, because what we have realized is, we need somebody who is not only empowering people but also is influential. Somebody who has the ability to influence and execute things on a larger scale rather than doing it customer by customer. So the thing that separates CFBT from other distributors that we are working is that CFBT is not only distributing the product, but it also has that influence in the market. So that is something which is very exciting for us, to work with CFBT, and which I guess in the next year, starting January 2022, we plan to work very aggressively with CFBT to scale our products in Thailand. And in terms of partnerships, what we feel we can work with CFBT is on two fronts. One is we have a program called Train the Trainers. So in which we our team trains a person. He can be a visually challenged person who or somebody else as well. So we train them on our products, and then that trainer, that person now goes ahead and trains other people across different NGOs. And that is one area in which we can partner with volunteers or trainers from CFBT, who can then go ahead and start training other people on our products. So that's the Train the Trainer program that we have. And the second thing is, with CFBT, we would really like to in turn work with the government directly, because we got to know from Vineet sir that the government distributes assistive aids to people, and they have a catalog. So that is the second area in which we would like to work with CFBT to become a part of the assistive aid distribution program going forward.
Yeah. Okay. So, uh, what are your most purchased assistive technology devices among all of those Kibo products that you mentioned?
Sure. So, out of the three products, two of them are softwares. The Kibo mobile app is an Android mobile application that is currently live on Play Store, and we have about 45,000 visually impaired people who have who have used the Kibo application, and they continue to use it. The second, and with the Kibo mobile application, our users have accessed more than 4.8 million plus documents, and they have spent about 39 million minutes on Kibo app. 39 million minutes of reading and learning on the app. So the app has had the greatest scale, and now the app is being used actively across 15 countries, including Thailand, Indonesia, Pakistan, Bangladesh, and other Asian countries apart from Europe countries. So the app has helped us achieve impact a larger audience. In terms of the Kibo Access device, since July 2019, We have sold our Kibo Access device to more than 270 customers across these 7 countries that I talked about. While prime 90 about 85% of our sales have been in India, 15% of the sales have been in the other 6 countries apart from India. So that's the reach that we have currently with the Kibo Access device. And with the device, 75% of our customers are organizations, 25% of our customers are individuals. And regarding the third product, Keyboard Desk. So Keyboard Desk is currently under beta. It is available for anybody to try it out for 15 days for free, and it's currently under beta, and we'll be officially launching the Keyboard Desk portal in the month of November sometime. So that is still under beta, and we have these 2 products which are currently live, and people have been using it since July 2019.
November, that will be next month already.
Yeah. It's almost done, and we'll be launching it next month.
M?
Okay, what will be your future innovations that your clients should look out for?
Sorry, what are the innovations?
What will be your future innovations that your clients should look out for?
Okay, so if I just roll back and look at where we started. So we started with a vision of making content accessible in real time. So that was our goal. Every school that, for an example, most of the times visually impaired, not forget about visually impaired, most of the time students, because of accidents, because of some disease, they lose their eyesight. And what happens is, for an example, one of our users, she lost her eyesight when she was in her 10th standard, and she was studying in a good private school in India. Just because of her blindness, she had to drop from the school. She took 2 years to learn Braille and got admitted to an NGO. So our vision is that the schools and organizations should be equipped with the tools that do not, such that nobody else in future needs to face this thing, because our schools need to be equipped with the tools to teach anybody. It should not discriminate. If somebody is visually impaired, no, I cannot teach, you need to leave the school. No. So that is our broader vision, to equip our existing organizations with the tools such that nobody has to drop out. So with that vision, we built our current solutions that offer content access. Anything that you want to read, that you have, for an example, if I have a book with me, I can read it using keyboard. Now, what are we what are we planning going forward? So we have, on the first level, we have made tools that give people access to the current content. If I have something, I should be able to read it. Going forward, what we'll also do is create content. Currently, we do not create content at all. We do not create books. We are not into content creation. We are into content aggregation. So if, for an example, CFBT has a library of accessible books, we have an option to integrate the CFBT library in the Keybo app such that thousands of people can use it. So we aggregate content. Going forward, we will also build tools that help people create content, because by creating content, people not only are able to share their knowledge, but they are able to form learning communities. For an example, Pam studied a chapter from a book and she can share something. I studied another chapter from the same book, I can share something. So how can we enable people to create content and form learning communities? So that is the next step for us, because we are making the current content accessible, and then we'll enable people to create content and form communities. So that's our next phase.
Yes. And I'm just thinking because like during this time of the pandemic, wherein the whole world has been affected, right? So in your own perspective, do you think that this pandemic will also have an effect in the market of assistive technology devices?
There has been a greater so I'll say because of the pandemic there's a higher percentage of the population that is now sensitized of the needs of the right to information access for people with disabilities. The reason I'm saying is because of the pandemic, all the information, all the brochures, all the statement of purposes that were coming from the central government. Every day the guidelines would change. Every week there would be some lockdown news in some part of the district, and they had the do's and don'ts. That this is what is allowed, this is what is not allowed. So because of the guidelines were being updated constantly, and these documents were either shared as scanned image PDFs. People used to take photographs and just circulate in WhatsApp groups, or even the government on their websites they had scanned image documents which were not accessible for somebody who's blind and visually impaired. So this so people started realizing it that it's not only about us, we also need to cater to a population which cannot access these documents. So there has been a greater sensitization of for the need of the right to information access because of the pandemic. While there were certain, I'll say, limitations in which we were not able to ship the products because of the lockdown, people were not able to travel, and there was chaos of how do I get the information access, what to do. But slowly and steadily, what we are witnessing is schools and colleges are now coming up and accepting assistive technology products like there is computer in the library. So they have now started to adopt these inclusive practices at a much higher pace than they used to do it earlier. So that is the shift in the trend that we are observing, at least from the Indian perspective, which we believe that inclusive practices in general is something that is likely to become mainstream going forward. So that's what we have seen as trend, and that's what we believe is the future of assistive technology and products in the market.
And since during this pandemic that maybe a lot of institutions or agencies are not capable of purchasing um, costly high devices, right? Do you
Yeah.
have any strategy on marketing your products?
Yes, yes, definitely. So what we have done, especially during the pandemic, is for organizations, we from our side, we partner with organizations, donor partners, CSR partners, corporate social responsibility. So we partner with donor partners, and we are able to offer our products at a subsidized rate to our end users. The end users can be NGOs, they can be individuals, even for digital goods. So, for an example, even for our Kibo application, we recently partnered with a donor partner to offer up to 49% subsidy on the Kibo mobile application. And we speak to the donor partners, and usually they have conditions. So some donor partner might say that I'm ready to fund students, and I'm ready to offer subsidies to students who want to purchase your products. Some might say I'm ready to subsidize products for NGOs who want to purchase your product. So some might say I'm ready to sponsor 15 devices for some organization. So like that, we actually have a set of partners who offer subsidies on our products, and that's how we are able to reach even to those people who cannot afford to pay for the services or the products that we have built. So we found a way out through collaborating between uh, people who want to donate and our end users who are ready to consume or are willing to use our products. So we have found that bridge of not letting finances limit the access to our products or the services that we have built. So this is the partnership that we do with our corporates and other organizations to fund and subsidize our products for students and NGOs.
Yes. Okay. And what are your expectations for future cooperation or collaboration with CFBT?
Sure. So in terms of expectations, like I said, we are pretty much open to learning from CFBT because every country is different. The way starting with the governance to the purchasing power of individuals to how assistive technology devices are donated, everything is different. Just to give you an example, for our partners in Europe, assistive technology is covered under health insurance.
That's
So
right.
yeah. So people don't pay the entire price. The insurance guys pay, and they only pay a part of the price. Whereas in the US, there is no insurance coverage at all. So people, they consider buying assistive devices as a part of their cost of living. So that is this is just an example of how two different countries have two different policies, and so likewise we are totally open to first understand how the market in Thailand works, what are some of your learnings, and from what are some of the learnings of CFBT that can help us position the product correctly. So that is the first part, that we are open to learning how the market in Thailand works. The second thing, like I already said, we'll be happy to partner with CFPT to conduct workshops for all the end users and the beneficiaries that they feel that our product can benefit. So we can do workshops, we can do online workshops, we can do probably also do in-person workshops in future. So that will help both of us. That will help us gain some visibility in the Thai market. That something like Kibo exists, and that is something useful for us. So it will also help us with some visibility for our organization, and in turn it will also help CFBT position itself as a promoter of technology based assistive devices. So just trying to create a win-win situation for CFBT as well as us. So that's the second thing. And the third thing is, again, that is with a distributor, the distributor side of CFBT, in which we'll be happy to work with CFBT to distribute the products. So the second point was CFBT as an NGO or a charitable trust, and the workshops and trainings that we can do. And the third part is of how CFBT can help us scale our products in Thailand and create a large scale impact. So these are the three ways in which you can partner: explore, train, and distribute.
Okay, Pam, let's move to, I think, the last question.
Yeah, moving to our last question, which is your message for CFBT on our 43rd Foundation anniversary.
Yeah, so I just learned from your communication that CFBT celebrating its 43rd foundation, if I get that right. 43rd,
Yes.
correct?
Yeah,
Yeah. So it's really, I'm really glad to have been associated with an organization which has a rich history. Like it's not like 4 years, it's 40 years. So to be able to do an activity or to be associated with a mission for so long is actually a testimony of of the richness of the organization, that it has stood the test of time. I'm sure GFBT would have faced many challenges over the course of these 40 years, and I was not even born when CFBT started. So,
me too.
so that's
Older than both of you, huh?
yeah. So it's really we're really happy, and as an organization, as Trestle Labs, to be associated with CFBT, and we wish CFBT all the best. It's 43 now. In 7 years it will be 50 years, and we wish CFBT to continue its pioneering work for the times to come. And one thing that I like to share from our side is that as Trestle Labs, we'll be more than happy to contribute to the best of our abilities to the mission and the work of CFBT. So please feel free to reach out to Trestle Labs for any assistance that we can do from our side, and we'll be happy to play a small role in the rich history of CFBT. So that's I'm really looking forward to it.
Yes. Maybe you can think about an assistive application that can help blind vloggers.
Blind, sorry.
Vloggers.
Okay.
It's very trending nowadays to vlog, right?
Rock.
Yes.
Like
Ah.
videoing here and there, going to places and videoing things, right? Here in the Philippines, there are a lot of vloggers, but
Okay.
the blind cannot vlog because they cannot see the camera and they cannot know if what are they taking taking
Mm.
pictures of. So
Got it.
maybe maybe an application, mobile application that can help the visually impaired people to see like what the focus of their camera, what thing, something like that. Before actually, when I was still in Thailand, there's a like a technology student from Konkan University who came to the foundation,
Mm-hmm.
and they are trying to make a like thesis project, and the teaching they were their activities is like teaching the blind students to take pictures, something
Mm-hmm.
like that.
Mm.
But I didn't hear about the outcome of their thesis though. So I
Got
don't
it.
know what happened to their project. Okay, so maybe that's one that I can give an idea for you
Sure,
to
no,
think
no,
about in
definitely.
the
We'll keep
future.
that in mind. I told, right? We want to enable people to create content. And this is actually in sync with what we plan to do, and we'll be much more happy to engage with you, to try out some things, what's working, and really enable this thing as much as possible. So we'll do that. And one more thing, while you were just telling me this thing, something that I've realized on a very personal level is that we always hear about this word assistive technology. Okay, whenever somebody says assistive technology, that has a meaning that somebody is needing assistance, and hence
Yeah.
there is technology. So what we are also promoting as an organization is to not to rephrase this word of assistive technology to inclusive technology, because whenever if you say assistive, it means somebody is needing help, somebody cannot do something and hence he needs assistance. So we
Yeah,
don't.
that's right.
So as a philosophy, if you start using inclusive technology, that subconscious definition in the mind will change, and the people's perception, we believe, will change of how they look at products. So wheelchair is not an assistive technology; it's an inclusive technology.
Yeah.
Spectacles are not an assistive technology; this is an inclusive technology. I'm wearing it, but I'm not disabled in that sense. So that's that's also one thing that I just wanted to share with you.
Yeah, actually, in the past, like around 20 years ago, it is more the word adaptive technology is more used during that time, and
Hmm.
later on they changed from adaptive technology to become assistive technology. And
Okay.
yeah, but I also agree with you that inclusive technology is also good because it's inclusion, right?
Yeah.
The visually impaired people who's using the technology will be inclusive to the things that he or she is going to use.
Yes.
That's
Yes.
right. Yeah, okay, so thank you very much for your time, Mr. Bonnie.
Yeah. Thank you so much,
Yeah,
for
thank
having me
you.
and considering me a part of this Foundation Day celebration. And we'll be happy to connect anytime we can.
Yes, and when your new innovative technology in November comes out, maybe we can have another training, virtual
Sure.
training.
We'll
Yes,
definitely reach out to Pam and Vineet and you, and
yes,
we'll have a collective online demonstration until we come to Thailand someday, and maybe we'll have Crystal also come to Thailand from Philippines someday.
yeah. Or maybe you can come here also in the Philippines to show
Yeah. So we'll do that. We'll have a visit to the Thailand and the Philippines, and then we'll do both this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you very
Thank you.
Thank
much.
you so much.
Thank you.
Thank
Bye
you. Have a
bye.
good day.
Yeah. Bye bye.
Bye.
ในการสัมภาษณ์กับบริษัท Trestle ในครั้งนี้ โดยมีคุณบอนนี่ ดาวี ผู้ร่วมก่อตั้งบริษัทร่วมพูดคุย โดยคุณบอนนี่เล่าว่า บริษัทเริ่มต้นด้วยการศึกษาการใช้ชีวิตของผู้ที่มีความบกพร่องทางการมองเห็นทุกกลุ่มอายุเป็นเวลา 3 เดือน และพบว่าสิ่งที่สำคัญที่สุดคือการไม่สามารถเข้าถึงสื่อสิ่งพิมพ์ได้ และนี่เป็นที่มาของผลิตภัณฑ์คีโบภายใต้ภารกิจของบริษัทที่มุ่งช่วยเหลือการเข้าถึงเนื้อหาแบบเรียลไทม์ไม่ว่าจะเป็นเอกสารที่พิมพ์ด้วยลายมือหรือรูปแบบดิจิทัล ปัจจุบันบริษัทมีผลิตภัณฑ์ 3 ตัวคือ Keyboard App, Keyboard Access Device และ Keyboard Desk โดย Keyboard App คือแอปพลิเคชันที่จะช่วยอ่านสิ่งพิมพ์ที่เขียนด้วยลายมือหรือดิจิทัลได้บนสมาร์ทโฟน Keyboard Access Device คืออุปกรณ์ที่จะช่วยสแกนเอกสารสิ่งพิมพ์และ Keyboard Desk หรือ Web Portal คือเว็บไซต์ที่จะช่วยให้อ่าน PDF หรือไฟล์รูปภาพได้ในคอมพิวเตอร์โดยกลยุทธ์ทางการตลาดของบริษัทคือแบบ B2B หรือ Business to Business คือการซื้อขายกับองค์กรโดยตรงและได้เริ่มทำการขายสินค้าในปี พ.ศ. 2562 ให้กับสถานศึกษาที่มีนักเรียนพิการทางสายตาและเริ่มติดตั้งผลิตภัณฑ์ให้แก่ห้องสมุดของมหาวิทยาลัยหลังจากนั้นก็เริ่มให้บริการแก่รัฐบาลผู้ใช้งานจริงและบริษัทที่มีผู้พิการทางสายตาจากนั้นทางบริษัทได้เปิดตัวสินค้าในหลากหลายประเทศเช่นอินเดียแอฟริกาสหราชอาณาจักรสหรัฐอเมริกาแคนาดารวมถึงประเทศไทยของเราและทางมูลนิธิของเราด้วยโดยมุ่งเน้นการเป็นพันธมิตรกับหน่วยงานที่ช่วยขยายฐานการเข้าถึงชุมชนการสาธิตสินค้าโดยสินค้าที่ขายดีที่สุดคือ Keyboard Application ซึ่งมีผู้ใช้งานกว่า 45,000 รายใน 15 ประเทศไม่ว่าจะเป็นประเทศไทยอินโดนีเซียปากีสถานบังกลาเทศและอีกหลากหลายประเทศในแถบทวีปเอเชียรวมถึงทวีปยุโรปและในช่วงสถานการณ์วิกฤต -19 นี้ทางบริษัทก็ได้รับผลกระทบเช่นเดียวกันกับทั่วทั้งโลกทางบริษัทจึงออกกลยุทธ์โดยการร่วมมือกับองค์กรการกุศลพันธมิตรผู้บริจาคและ CSR โดยได้รับเงินอุดหนุนสูงถึง 49% สำหรับการพัฒนาแอปพลิเคชันมือถือคีโบทางบริษัทมีความคาดหวังว่าจะได้ร่วมมือกับทางมูลนิธิในการศึกษาการทำงานของตลาดไทยและพฤติกรรมของผู้บริโภคชาวไทยว่ามีความต้องการอย่างไรท้ายนี้ก็ได้ชื่นชมการทำงานที่สวยงามของมูลนิธิที่ได้ดำเนินการมามากกว่า 43 ปี โดยหวังว่าจะได้เป็นส่วนหนึ่งเพื่อร่วมขับเคลื่อนภารกิจและทำงานกับมูลนิธิต่อไปในอนาคต